the issue in this country right now is we live in different realities.
That's right.
I live in a reality where I know I do not have the same opportunity as you. I know I don't.
And you know
and
that
I know
too.
what, Scott?
And you know that.
Let me just tell you about me.
I'm gonna let you finish, but I want to answer this.
I'm not talking about how you feel. I'm talking about how I feel. Me, a black woman in this country.
But not in this city.
And I will run. And if you want
Look,
me
I'm a New Yorker, not in this city. You cannot say that. You can't say that in this city.
I'm not talking about New York. I'm talking about Ashley Allison right here. I got a law degree, a master's, and 2 bachelors. Probably more education than all of y'all added up together at this table,
Fine
right?
by me.
And I have always been the least paid person on payroll at every institution I have worked in. And it's not
Even
because...
in the White House?
Even in the White House.
Well, whose fault is that? I don't think you worked for George W. or Trump.
Well, guess what happened when I was there? DEI.
Scott.
Look.
I'm head Scott.
Look,
You're my friend. I respect you tremendously. I think you're probably the smartest operative in the Democratic Party, and they should listen to you more. That's number one. Number two, you and I share a comparable background. We're both from the Midwest. We both come from middle-class families, lower middle-class families maybe. I actually think we share a lot of similarities in our journey. But I think you made it, and you are the most respected voice often at every room or every table you're in, not because of anything other than your talent and your work ethic. And that's all anybody ever is asking for, is for people with talent and work ethic to make it. And that's what I see in you. That's how I see you.
But let me tell you something about my story and my family's story, is that we have faced discrimination. I have faced discrimination. I just said I was the least paid person, even in this moment sometimes, to my counterparts. It is just the reality of the country we live in. And I'm not saying, I do believe I'm qualified. I know I'm qualified. You won't ever tell me I'm not qualified. But the system that I live in doesn't matter about my qualifications.
I don't agree because
in 2025.
Oh, come on.
I don't think we're there in 2025.
You can't
That's just not true. That's just not true.
There is a mountain of evidence that suggests that you are wrong. Okay, let's just
Again,
take Ashley.
I'm a New Yorker, so I'm jaded. I have the Attorney General as a black woman. The mayor's a black man. The head of the Senate is a black man.
Okay, New York is a small representation.
Well, small.
of the
New York is
United
not that
States
small.
of America.
Politics. Let me talk about
Every judge I
numbers.
appear before
Because
is either a woman or a person of color.
Ashley just gave an anecdote, but the numbers also show black women are one of the most educated demographics in this country and one of the least paid. Why would that make any sense?
Why would that make any sense? And don't talk to me about the judges you stand before. Talk to me about the theory.
Hold on.
Talk to me about the world in which we live in and
Let's
the
look at
system
the
that
United
we live
States
in.
Supreme Court. How could you say we're not going to look at that from the top to the bottom? And I'm talking about the legal system.
New York is a more
that I live in.
progressive. And we just got a black woman.
Hold up. Let me.
We just got a black woman on the
Okay, but you had a black man from the 70s.
You brought up the Supreme Court.
Or the 60s.
One.
Did you know, Arthur, that there are
Hold on. What percentage of it does it represent the United States of America?
Why
does it matter? So we got to go by numbers?
Why is it so hard?
So we got to
acknowledge what she just said.
Why
is it so? Why is it just one? Why is there only one Italian American?
No, but why is it so hard for you to acknowledge what she just said about black women being the most educated?
I did acknowledge it. I said that's not my experience.
Okay, but because you're not a black woman.
No, I'm a New Yorker, and that's
New
not
York
the way
is
it
not
is in New
representative
York.
of the rest
You're
of America.
correct.
That's also what
It's also the most diverse city in the country.
Well, that's exactly.
Like,
so of
why
course
wouldn't
there's
it be?
more
I think it's a
representation
little
in
more
women.
representative.
And Scott, I think if you really see, you said something very beautiful. This is your friend. You guys share a lot of the same values. You guys think alike. You guys are literally friends off air. You text, you have good conversations. There is the yes and in that. There is something that says to me that you know what she's saying is true. You think she's smart. You know that she's smart. She's more educated than mostly everyone at this table. And so what she's saying isn't a lie. What she's saying is a real life experience. And so why is it so hard to understand why something like diversity, equity, inclusion needs to be a part of what we do in a system that never even acknowledged a group of people, never saw us as a human commodity, just literally never noticed who we were. And now here we are years later asking for some simple rights, some simple civility, opportunities. She's asking to be paid like you get paid. She's asking to be acknowledged like you get acknowledged. And she knows that that is not the case because she is a black woman.
She had a high-ranking position in the White House of the United States of America.
Dear friend,
she is one of the most celebrated political operatives in the country.
There's
Do you know how hard I had to work to get that?
Do you know how hard the son of a garbage man had to work at it? So I'm just telling you.
I'm not saying that, but
talent and work ethic are everything. And that's why I think you're here.
It's not true. It's just not true. It's just not true.
The other thing is the access to opportunity is. I know you don't want to think that that is true, but access to opportunity is what DEI is supposed to address. And not just when it comes to race, although race is important, but when it comes to women, when it comes to people with disabilities, when it comes to people from different socioeconomic brackets from rural parts of the country.
I think that's the biggest issue. There's different socioeconomic brackets more than race and gender.
Now we're trying to say that everything is equal just because I say it is, even though all the evidence.
Who said everything is equal?
Well, that's literally we're already living in a meritocratic society, is what Scott and his colleagues want to say, when that's actually factually not true.
Do you not think everything is equal?
But I think it's generally.
I don't think everything is equal.
Generally true.
So actually, okay.
But I think
then
it should. It'll seek its own level. I don't think the government should be telling us to seek its own level.
But you literally earlier just said
DEI is not about the government. Y'all are talking to private companies
Yes.
and telling them you can't
do
operate
it. It's
about both.
the way you want to
But
operate.
Arthur,
But
you
it is
literally
about
just said, I don't think it will seek itself out, because you literally just said human nature. That's how we operate.
That's
so
right.
sometimes,
Yes,
which is why the civil rights movement was so
I think it's
important.
more socioeconomic than it is.
This is why, like, when they
racial.
talk about like canceling the Department of Education, why they talk about the federal government. The reason why the federal government was so important, particularly for Black people to seek justice in this country, is because it was the one bastion of hope that people had when states took control and they had discriminatory practice laws.
Okay, but
the
that was a long
Supreme
time
Court.
ago now.
What? How long ago? Tell me how long ago was that?
That was a long
How
time
long
ago.
ago was that?
We gotta go. We gotta go, but it was not that long ago.
I know.
It was,
it's
it was not that long ago.
Yeah, it's
It was
so
in
long
Ashley's
ago.
father's lifetime. It was in
prepped
my
to
parents'
talk about
lifetime.